Okay, this is Kalamazoo, Michigan. This is Green Light Music. As usual, I'm the last one in there. I always come in toward the end of the day, but what a great little record store. Really enjoyed my time. Really good people there, and people are pulling into the parking lot trying to run me down. So, great space. Hope you enjoy the video. I am in Kalamazoo. This is Green Light Music. Look at those cool posters. Isn't that, this is a really nice store. And just some people had talked to me about this place, and I hadn't been here. So here I am. So let's look. Here's the new wall. I would just like to point out this place just is costing me a lot of money right now. More new. But we're coming up to, look at that, some box sets. The Zeppelin box sets, used box sets. Here we go. Now, this is some of the used. If you see a hole on the wall, that's because of me. One has, oh man, I'm just telling you folks, this place is not doing me any good. Here's some of the collectibles. What's really amazing is they're alphabetized. As usual, feel free to tell me what I just passed up on and that I'm an idiot for not buying it. Because I can always come back. Got news over there, used, great stuff, CDs, cassettes. Getting close to the closing time, so I'm keeping them here a little bit late. This is leftover record store day. Man, Rick Ashley, he's leftover. Oh well, not for me. Very nice. Very cool store. Kalamazoo, Green Light Music. And welcome back. You saw the video, Green Light Records. Let's just begin with that. Kalamazoo, Michigan. You talk about, you want a city with a fun name. How could you not smile when you say Kalamazoo? That's just great stuff. This was a great record store. In fact, I've been back the second time because they had this wall of grail, and then of course they had their bin of their grails. And there was a lot of great stuff. A lot of things I just, I wanted to have this. Money's there's only so much. But the one thing I left behind, and I came back, it was a month later, and I did get Robert Johnson box set. Yes. I used to have that in CD, but I never had it in vinyl. But that's not on this video. That's because that was a recent one. But the staff there, extremely friendly, very nice. Actually, even remembered me when I came back in. And nice, clean place. a lot to choose from. They had a lot of leftover record store day that you could look at. A lot of new vinyl, but then good selection of used. Yeah, I really like this. Their prices were good. You know, if you were, you look at Discogs, it's at medium. But so often I see people trying to get them closer to the mint. And, that's not, if it's a used record, that's not right, unless it's sealed or something. So really enjoyed it. Greenlight Music. Got that right? Yeah, Greenlight Music. Got to make sure. Kalamazoo, Michigan. If you're there, if you're in Michigan, it's a good place. Kalamazoo has two really nice record stores there, this and Satellite, and truly enjoyed them. So, what I pick up? The first couple albums I actually picked up on my first visit to Greenlight Records. Picked these off their wall. And we start with Fly Like an Eagle, the MoFi. Just wonderful, wonderful album, obviously. You can see the older MoFi sleeve here, which is really, really neat. And the label, I mean, where are you going? The label's the label, right? And when it comes to MoFi, this album, big part of the 70s. As those that watch this regularly know, I'm a 70s guy. That's my teenage years. And so those are the groups that really, really meant a lot to me. And when you look at this one, you got Take the Money and Run, Rock Me. Just incredibly good stuff. There is, it's very hard to read this stuff on here. The space intro then goes into Fly Like an Eagle. To the sea, fly like an eagle, let your spirit carry me. That space intro, though, that's what caught my attention. When that came on, you just sit and go, wow. You go, wow, what is that? Because when I was young, synthesizers, that was still something pretty new to me, to have that kind of sound and to do what they did. It's before I had ever heard of Pink Floyd, Dark Side of the Moon. But this was all over AM radio, but I heard this when we were in a shopping mall in Chicago and it was playing. And so just so happy to have this back. I really, I had all the early Steve Miller bands, and I really, really like that. But what means the most to me is the Joker, this one. Those are the two that just spoke to me as a youngster and still bring back memories. The earlier stuff, I like the music, but I don't get the satisfaction that I get from that because of memories. The other one I picked up there, another MoFi, Crime of the Century, from Supertramp. Right. Bloody well right. You got a bloody right to say hey. And Dreamer's on here. Dreamer, nothing but a dreamer. The midweeks are all about me doing karaoke to no backing track. So excited to see this one too. Again, 70s Supertramp was big to me, starting with this. Breakfast in America, huge album for me. In Quietest Moments, those are the three Supertramp that when I listen to, memories flood back. Good stuff, and it makes me smile. So very excited. Pick that thing up. Excellent. On this visit, Flesh Eaters. Now, this is a repress. But the exciting part of that, and I gotta get this into a MoFi sleeve, that's the original. I lost the cover during the flood, but I saved my vinyl. So I now have an original. And the Flesh Eaters is just one of those incredible punk bands. Maybe a lot of people don't know about, but they came. It was as punk was getting into more hardcore. They're not extreme hardcore like you will hear, like a Black Flag, but they're moving that way. And awesome cover there. I had looked for years to find an original Flesh Eater, and then I finally found it here in Midland. Radio Wasteland Jim had a copy out there, and so I was able to pick it up, and that was huge for me. Then I lost the cover, so this nice repress, this wasn't out of lines of pricing. I was able to get this, so I have the cover for my original that I could put in there. Obviously, an original cover would be cooler, but it's the same picture, right? And the music, so now I got 2 albums of it, but great punk album. Something important back from the early 80s as punk was beginning to morph and go into new directions. So excited to have that. Here is another, I bought this at a store. They had tons of under $5 albums. Berlin, 80s group. Really always loved this group. Terry Nunn, let's just face it, she was hot. She was just great. She does have No More Words. Berlin's greatest hits truly is, I think I have Berlin's greatest hits. Is good, but there's just that when we make loves on here, it's just good stuff. I really liked this synth group, and I thought they were fantastic. Enjoyed the music from them. Geffen. And Is There Anything Special? Oh, there we go, the band. Yeah. Love Life by Berlin. And this came out in the 80s, 1984. Happy to have that one back in. If I had to pay a lot for it, I would not have bought it, but for not a lot, I would get that. Good group. Then I got this one, and again, I lost all the Cheap Trick, but the 70s Cheap Trick is what I like best, and Dream Police was one of them. A college album that my younger brother bought, and we would play. And when he bought Cheap Trick, I was buying the B-52s and Devo Pretenders. I was going that route. He was going the Tom Petty Cheap Trick route. And so when he left after college, he kept those albums. He still has those albums. As I saw him finally at the wedding, my niece's wedding this last week. Yeah, do you still have those records? Yeah, I do. I just don't have a turntable. I go, what? He's had for years and years, he has these records with no turntable. I says, you should just give them to me. He didn't say yes. But what's he going to do with them? But he had the Cheap Trick. And at first I didn't appreciate him, but with time I have. And I absolutely love this album. I bought it on CD. I had it on, the album. I mean, Gonna Raise Hells, This House is Rockin', Way of the World, Dream Police. I mean, side 1 is a tour de force. Goes into side 2. I'll Be With You Tonight, Writing on the Wall. Man. This thing's so good, so solid. You know that. I mean, it's like, ooh, that's such an uncommon, rare album. Where'd you get that at? But if I'm only, I'm not buying tons of Cheap Trick, but this is one I had to have. Here was one. This is one of my very first albums I had ever had. It's not definitely not pristine, but it's very clean sounding, the vinyl, and Electric Light Organ's New World Record, part of the Columbia Record Club, 13 albums for $1. And so this was the very first time I knew Electric Light Orchestra. I bought this and I was so thrilled to have. I mean, it was just like, wow, that's pretty amazing stuff, because I grew up on classical. And so you have Rockaria, kind of puts opera into there, Tightrope, Telephone Line, great things, so fine. It's a living thing, woo. And And to hear the violins coming in and being part of rock as it did on this and other ELO records, but again, I didn't know that. So when I heard this, it was like something new to my ears. It opened a door. It got me excited. I mean, I was always excited about music, but it's like, wow, listen to this. Now, I never became a huge ELO fan. Again, it's one of those greatest hits I'm really good with. And later ELO I didn't like. You know, especially by the late 70s, I was not into them whatsoever. But that mid-70s period is great, and they made some really good stuff. And this, for me, was the best album because of the memories and just sitting and listening to it over and over and over again. You know, when you only got like 13 albums, you're going to play them a lot if you like music, right? Again and again and again. And then they stick in our brain. I have seen this suddenly around in all the used record stores. Billy Joel's Greatest Hits, Volume 1, Volume 2. And it was just the amount of money people were asking for it. I was kind of dumbfounded. I go, really? Billy Joel? They want $40 for a Greatest Hits? I got it so much cheaper at my local Radio Wasteland. And it's beautiful. Sounds great. Yeah, again, I don't need the stuff. A Greatest Hits is good. My problem on this, though, it doesn't have Captain Jack. I love Captain Jack. And it's not on here. And that's a real bummer. I would have rather have not had Uptown Girl or Tell Her About It. Actually, side 4, the fourth side. Tell Her About It, Uptown Girl, Longest Time, You're Only Human, The Night Is Still Young. You could have trashed all that. It given me a couple more of those early Billy Joel, like Captain Jack. I think that's a fabulous song. And some of the other ones, great storytelling. I mean, he was so good at storytelling. He just, wonderful stories. And so, I mean, I got such a nice deal on this thing, and so I could have it back in. You know, Piano Man, I like that song. I mean, I like that album. And The Stranger. Piano Man, The Stranger. The very first one I ever bought was Glass Houses. That was the first one. Remember, we went to a wedding, and they were playing that. And so it was just, that one was all stuck in my head. But those other two, to me, had the best. But, yeah, excited to have that at a very good price. This one, I was given this, well, actually, I bought this from my local guy too, and I lost it, but brought it back in, Stewart Copeland's, The Rhythmicists. This is Stewart Copeland from the Police going to Africa and recording in Africa, getting the rhythms and the vibes of Africa. Really bringing that music to the forefront, bringing us to the masses so Paul Simon could do Graceland, stuff like that. This came out in '85. Maybe Paul Simon done Graceland already. I can't tell you. But it was just, it's a good exploration of going to the continent. Brian listened to Brian Eno and David Byrne. They really did a nice job with theirs. But just super good music. For those of you, if you like that Afrobeat, if you like that feel, obviously Copeland could, really play. God, the guy came from such a rich family. Of course, his brother was managing their group at the start. I just finished James Griffith's book on the Squeeze. It was talking about how Copeland's brother came in and was managing them, but then the Police started, and suddenly he seemed like to spend more time with the Police. Well, yeah, they're number one. They're making the money. What are you going to do? But interesting things, and, the family, you could afford to do whatever you wanted. I didn't have that. I had this, and this came from Mark, Mad for Vinyl. One of the many albums that he sent me. I got a few of them here. One was Don Henley's Building the Perfect Beast. Not a hard album to find. Just good stuff. You have Boys of Summer on here. Building the Perfect Beach. And all she wants to do is dance. That's not my wife. She never wants to dance. And maybe I'm just a bad dancer. I'm not going to go out there. No, maybe she's not. I don't know. I can't say we're not known for cutting the rug. But Sunset Grill's on here. such one of those 80s iconic albums that just had hit after hit after hit after hit. 1984 made him into a superstar, made him to, he could say whatever he wanted. Hey, Eagles, let's get together. He could say, screw you, I got a great solo career, but obviously he did get back together. Super happy to have that one. Good stuff on there. Mark also gave me the Bee Gees. This is the good Bee Gees. It's Disco Bee Gees. Yes, I like Disco Bee Gees. That's when I first heard the Bee Gees. The very first Bee Gees song I ever heard was Jive Talking. Da, 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 da. I bought the little 45 and go, wow, this is so neat. And I mean, just catchy and makes you snap your fingers. And so, you know, Saturday Night Fever, oh my God, that's great. Now, I never bought many Bee Gees albums. I just never did. I had Saturday Night Fever, so I mean, what more Bee Gees do you really need? But this on here had Tragedy. And I'd sing that one to you, but I just can't quite do what his voice on there. And there's a few other ones, but just fun stuff to have. You know, I bought early Bee Gees. You know, I tried some. I was out there. Well, let's get these. And then everyone was talking about other ones. You know, I had the fuzzy one, Odyssey. Is that what it was? I couldn't get into it. It was so much folk, so much folky. Or they said it's psych. You know, I had the very first one that's psych folk, and it just made me sleepy as hell. It didn't make me want to get up and go, wow, yeah, baby. No. These guys can. The other ballads are okay, but damn, they made disco hits. Wow. The final one, Mark gave me this one also. Adamant, friend or foe. You have goody goody two shoes, goody goody two shoes, two shoes, two shoes. The first few Adamants, and here you do have the drums. The drums are in there, those African type drums, the beating, very pronounced on here. Adamant, and I was in my early 20s. He was speaking to me. You know, I learned about him my first trip to England, and I became an Adamant fan. It lasted till this album, and then I moved on from Adamant. But his very first Kings of the Wild Frontier, I don't have that one yet, and that's one I really want to get back into my collection. I do have Prince Charming. That's number 2 favorite, so excited to have these back in my collection. So that's it. Thanks everyone for hanging out. Damn, I went long on that. Talk to you later. Sunday. Bye.